Go ahead and we're going to get started here. Again, my name is Mark Gensler, and I'd like to welcome everyone to the Explore Simpson series for Campus Life. On the call today will be myself as your admissions counselor. You'll have Rich Ramos, the Associate Dean of Students, as well as Nicole Darling, the Assistant Director of Student Activities and Intramurals. And then Laura Mueller, who is an Assistant Director of Admissions, will be monitoring the chat box. So as we go along today, if you have questions at any time, please go ahead and put them in that chat box, and we will answer them at the end as we move along here. All right, so our agenda for this morning, we'll go over some general admission information. Then we'll move into the campus life and student activities portion. And then at the end, we'll do a wrap up with question and answers for everyone. All right, so for our admissions piece, again, my name is Mark Gensler, and I am an admissions counselor here. Simpson College is a small liberal arts college located about 25 minutes south of downtown Des Moines. We really utilize Des Moines as kind of our extended classroom, if you will. So that's something to keep in mind. We do have 100% of our students that do receive financial aid. We have about 1,200 full-time undergraduate students. We do have a 12-to-1 student to faculty ratio. So our class sizes here at Simpson are very small. That is something that'll carry on throughout your entire academic career at Simpson, is that you will see that these class sizes are small. It really gives our professors a chance to kind of get to know you as a student and really be involved in your life as a student and to help you succeed. We do offer 80+ majors, minors, and pre-professional programs. And 99% of Simpson College graduates were employed or in graduate school within 6 months of graduation. As I said earlier, we do utilize Des Moines as kind of our extended classroom. So we do have an excellent internship opportunities due to our proximity to Iowa's largest city. So that is something to keep in mind as well. All right, so you're probably asking yourself, what should I do next? How do I start the process? So if you're a junior and you have, or anyone who has not started their application process, the first step would be to apply to Simpson. And you can do that through our website. After you've done that, if you are a senior, you'll want to make sure that your FAFSA is sent over to us. If you're a junior applying, you'll want to wait until the fall to send in your FAFSA. Once we have your FAFSA, that is when we can actually issue you a financial aid award. At that point, your admissions counselor will reach out to you to kind of set up a time to go over that. At Simpson, we take financial aid very seriously, and we try to be transparent about what we're giving you. So you'll have a representative from Simpson that will sit down and go through everything line by line and explain, what a grant is versus, what a loan is, or what, the different options are. You'll also go over different ways to pay off your balance or pay things back. And that's all stuff that your admissions counselor will go over with you. Once you've done that and you've been accepted, you'll want to pay your $200 enrollment deposit. That is the next step in this process for you. That also unlocks your SC Connect credentials, which allow you to register for summer orientation, housing, and then also some medical forms that you need to fill out. And all of that will be done after your $200 enrollment deposit has been paid. So those are just a few next steps to keep in mind. A couple things that we do have coming up from the admissions office because of the COVID-19 pandemic that's going on. We've moved all of our in-person stuff to virtual visits, which is what you're on today, obviously our Explore Simpson series. So this week we are doing campus life and student activities. And then next week we're doing speech and mock trial. the week of, or this week as well. Then the week of the 27th, excuse me, we're doing academic resources and civic engagement. And then the week of May 4th, we're doing academic advising. We do have a special one for juniors that's called Finding the Right Fit. That will help guide you through the process of trying to, in your college search. And then we also have a religious life one that week as well. We are also offering personalized virtual visits with a counselor as well. During those virtual visits, we can set you up with an academic professor that you have an interest with. We can set you up with a coach, or if you're interested in music, for example, we can set you up with one of those directors as well, to kind of go over some of that stuff with you as well. We ask that you please follow us on social media. So make sure you're following us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and using the hashtag #OneSimpson. So at this time, that is kind of the admissions overview for this. I'm going to turn it over to Campus Life with Rich Ramos. If you have any questions about anything that's been discussed so far, I know I briefly went over it kind of fast. So if there's any questions that you have, please put it in the chat box and we will circle back to it at the end of this. So with that point, I'd like to turn it over to Rich.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to an interesting way to have these conversations. Typically, we'd love to have you on campus, but unfortunately, we can't be there. But we look forward to having these conversations with you soon here on campus pretty soon. Along with me on this is Nicole Darling, who also works in the Student Activities Office with me. And basically, what we're going to spend a little bit of time here, the limited amount of time we have, is talking about student involvement, student activities, and all the ways that we keep our students engaged and active and connected on campus. If you want to hit that next slide, that'd be great. All right, so at Simpson, we have, there are a lot of things that fall under the umbrella of student activities. We have clubs and organizations. We have a lot of different clubs and organizations on our campus. And almost all of our student activity organizations work with the Student Activities Office in some way or another. We have Student Government Association, which I'll talk a little bit more as we get going on. The Campus Activities Board, Intramurals and Recreation, which Nicole Darling works closest with, and then Greek Life. So let's move to the next slide. So we're going to start out talking a little bit about clubs and organizations. At the end of fall semester, we had 67 different clubs and organizations registered on campus. Those clubs were anything from social clubs to fraternities and sororities to an academic club to sports clubs to esports to just about any type of club or organization you can imagine. One of the things that I think is kind of a priority for us is we want to make sure that when students come and they're looking for a club or an organization, they find the right club or organization that fits with them, that's a connection that feels right, much like when you're looking for a college. We want that experience to be the same within a club or organization. What we have found is that sometimes a student gets here and they realize there's not necessarily the right club for them. And so we work with any student that has a desire to start a club on campus to get connected and to create that experience that they want to have when they get on campus. We've had any number of different clubs that were all student initiated, whether it is our esports group was 100% student initiated and is a growing organization on our campus and pretty committed in a lot of different ways to a lot of different things on our campus. We had a student who was interested in comic books and wanted to start a comic book club. So just about anything is available for a club or organization. And again, we'll work with any group. There are only some small expectations that we have when a student is looking to start a club. We want them to have basically some guiding sort of principles, whether it's a constitution or bylaws or a purpose statement. And then the other expectation is that they must have someone who's an employee of the college who acts as an advisor to them. And then finally that they keep all of their funds, should they get any money from our Student Government Association, that money is kept on campus in campus accounts to kind of aid in accounting and all those sorts of good things. In the fall, when students get on campus, within a couple days of arriving, we have what's called OrgFest. And OrgFest is an all-campus organizations fair where a lot of our clubs and organizations are there to reach out to our new students and you all and to find those right fit for them. And you know, again, as I said, if you can't find that right fit or that organization at OrgFest, that's where we'll work with you to find a right fit for you. Oftentimes, we'll work with many students on campus to share who they can contact, or if they're looking to create something new or come up with something different. We'll work with students real closely to get that experience. The other thing that a lot of our clubs and organizations have is that there are a lot of resources that are available funded by our Student Government Association in our student organizations area that we have on campus. We have everything from cotton candy machines to bingo machines to snow cones to popcorn to video projectors to whatever, to ensure that our clubs are able to be as successful as any organization on campus, and they have resources available to them, and they're not having to expend funds on things for their organization that we can readily supply them with. So we have a really robust campus in terms of clubs and organizations, and it's important for any student that comes to campus to get connected and involved in what we do. If you want to hit the next slide. So one of the organizations I work closest with is our Student Government Association. Our Student Government Association, I think in some terms people might compare this with a high school student council or something like that. The only difference that I would say with our Student Government Association is to a high school student government or student council is that they're involved in a lot of different ways on campus. Our Student Government Association not only works with student clubs and organizations, but they work closely with the college administrators on policy development, on hiring of new employees at the college. We have students who are part of Student Government Association who sit on our trustees and are very involved in all parts of the life of the college. So they take on a little bit more of a role that's probably a liaison between the college and between students, and it's a great group of students to work for. They also oversee all of our clubs and organizations, as well as they oversee the funding for our clubs and organizations. So when you're getting ready to pay your bills for the college, there's a student activities fee that's listed. That student activities fee goes to our Student Government Association, and the purpose of that fund is to support our clubs and organizations that directly impact our students. And in many cases, those clubs and organizations are run and controlled by our students. So that's the piece. As far as getting involved in student government, all the positions in our Student Government Association are elected positions. For first-year students, elections are going to be in the first week or so after you get on campus, and we have 5 positions. So there'll be 1 class president and 4 class senators. And like I said, elections and signups are going to be in the first couple weeks, and we have weekly meetings that you're expected to come to. And I would encourage you, if you kind of want to see a little bit about what our Student Government Association is hit our Facebook page, because all of our meetings are streamed, and you can go back and you can watch our meetings and you can see what they're like. And even now that we're not necessarily on campus, we're still meeting and our meetings are streamed. So if you want to see a little bit what we talk about, I would encourage you to tune in, so that'll give you a pretty good idea of things. Next, we can go to the next slide. The other organization that falls under under student activities is the Campus Activities Board. This is kind of the social programming organization on the side of student activities. They offer things like discounted movies, live music, comedians, dances, trivia. If you haven't been on campus, the picture that you're seeing on the right side is a picture from when we had Drake Bell on campus this last fall that students were pretty excited about. So, and while I'd like to think that I know a lot about entertainment, I know that it's ultimately our students who make the choice, and our students are the ones who chose to bring that show to campus. So it's a 100% run student organization, and it is also funded by our Student Government Association and their student activities fees. We can go to the next slide. Next up, I'll turn it over to Nicole Darling, who's involved in our intramurals and recreation. So talk a little bit about fitness and intramural sports.
Thanks, Rich. Welcome, you guys. Like Rich said, this is a different way of doing this, and new for both Rich and I and many others. So like Rich talked about, we are the student activities department. And so my main area focus would be with working with students in the recreational side of things. So that's anything ranging from your typical football, basketball, volleyball type activities to one day activities like Easter egg hunt or card games or things like that. This is a recreational organization, so if you're here to maybe play a sport for Simpson, for instance, if you came to play basketball for Simpson, you wouldn't be able to play intramural basketball, but you'd be able to play and participate in any of the activities. These are games and teams that are created by our students. We have an online registration process. So when you come here, this is an opportunity not only to maybe take a study break and get out of your rooms and go enjoy some physical activity. We provide about 70 to 75 different activities during the year. And so hopefully there's something there that will, maybe you've played before, or maybe in your PE classes, or a lot of times we've had games that come from like European descent, or also if you've maybe played it at home. And so we have a lot of creativity. I feel like we have about every game that you can think of that requires throwing something at something. So we have a wide variety of different activities. This organization, like many other ones on Simpson, really allows for students to start to connect with the campus, get to know your peers. We have about a 65% participation rate. So there's a lot of variety in age groups that are involved in intramurals. And so it's a great way to start to connect with your hall mates or other classmen. And it's one thing that sometimes a lot of the teams are creating those teams within their hall, but then they're also carrying on throughout their 4 years at Simpson. They're holding here in some of these pictures, they've got the intramural champion t-shirt. And so that's kind of a big deal on campus to get one of those and kind of wear that with pride. A lot of the times people keep track of how many they can get throughout their 4 years here at Simpson. I would encourage any students coming in. This is just one of our organizations, but one of the ones that you can start connecting with Simpson, not only just academically. Obviously you come here for a degree, but making those friendships and competing and staying active and being recreational is definitely one of those positives. We also have under this little slide here, it names fitness, and we have a Simpson fitness class that was created. It's a student run Simpson Fitness. All classes are free to staff and students and faculty. The majority of our classes are taught by students, and this is an opportunity also just for getting some hands-on experience in case maybe they want to pursue a career in recreation or being a trainer or some sort in that nature. They are able to start coming in and teaching classes. And that's just another opportunity for our students to have a study break and connect with our other students, and also by staying active. We have $1 million facility. And if you haven't yet been on campus for a campus tour, you will come see Stephen Johnson Fitness Center and our Coles facility. Our recreational facility has a lot to offer. And that's one opportunity that we take advantage with our Simpson Fitness organization to provide classes. We do a lot of like pictures and things, posts on our social media sites, our Facebook, our Instagram, and our Twitter, where you can also, like Rich mentioned, you can go check out and see what we've been doing, see what our winners are. We have classes and things like that. I'll post it on those social media sites, and that's also kind of a big deal because students want to see their faces and they want to be connected that way too. So it's definitely something you can follow now before you even come to campus and see what that's all about. Yeah, that's a little short rundown of recreational activities on campus through Intramurals or Simpson Fitness.
So like Nicole said, there are a lot of students who participate in our intramural program, and I would encourage you to look at it and get involved. Even if you're not necessarily athletically inclined, they have plenty of opportunities for people who are not into athletic type sports. They have card games, they have any number of different things. So I'd encourage you to do that. The other thing that, they do some unorthodox things that might necessarily, some people might not think are intramural sports, like the Easter egg hunt. The Easter egg hunt is typically one of the larger events for intramurals. They hide Easter eggs. I think if I recall right, Nicole, something like 1,500 Easter eggs hidden throughout the Kent Campus Center. And it's a hugely popular event. So I would encourage you to keep our intramural program in mind when you're on campus. Next thing I want to talk about is a little bit of our fraternity and sorority life. Unlike a lot of schools our size, we have a pretty significant fraternity and sorority life. Many of our fraternities and sororities have been on campus for over 100 years. So they have a long history on our campus in a variety of ways. We have 8 chapters on campus. We have 7 national chapters and 1 local chapter. What I mean by a local chapter is that they're only on our campus and they're not on any other campus, and that 1 local chapter has been on campus for over 100 years as well. But of those 8 chapters, we have 4 women's organizations, Delta Delta Delta, Pi Beta Phi, Sigma Lambda Gamma, and Kappa Kappa Gamma. And then for our men's organizations, we have Sigma Alpha Epsilon, Lambda Chi Alpha, Alpha Tau Omega, and then our local organization is Kappa Theta Psi. Of those 8 organizations, one of the organizations is a multicultural organization, which means that it was initially founded around a multicultural group, but is open to all students to join and to participate. So, and that organization is Sigma Lambda Gamma, and I encourage any student to go through it. As far as our recruitment process goes, recruitment starts in about the second or third week of the fall semester. Recruitment for women is vastly different from men. The recruitment for women is a little bit more of a formal process, and because there are some national guidelines they have to live up to. And then for the men, it's a little bit more of an informal process. And sometimes they even have a lot of events or just drop by and hang out with the guys in the chapter houses and those sorts of things. But that's our fall recruitment. Our spring recruitment is very much for both men and women, is a little bit more of an informal process. So it's definitely not as formal. As far as joining a fraternity or sorority, it's a mutual selection process. So when it's ultimately, chapters are looking to find the chapter that's the right fit and the right feel for them. But likewise, hopefully, if you choose to go through recruitment, it's finding a right chapter that feels good for you and is the right fit for you. It's one of those things where I think that it's all about feel and finding your right place and finding your fit. And as much as I'd love to say that and love to have every student involved in fraternity and sorority life, I know that fraternity and sorority life is not for every single student. But what I do encourage is I encourage everybody to at least consider going through the recruitment process. There's no cost to go through recruitment, but to go through the recruitment process is a great opportunity to meet a lot of different people on campus, a lot of different students, and to get connected in a different way. There's no commitment to go through the recruitment process. It's not like if you go through the recruitment process, that automatically means you have to join. There are some students who go through it and realize that on their first semester, it's not right for them to join, and maybe that they'll do it another time, and they ultimately join second semester. So please keep recruitment in mind. And again, I would encourage any student to go through the process. As far as housing goes, housing, almost all of our chapters have some sort of housing that is technically referred to as their chapter house. Out of all of our chapters, 2 of our women's organizations own their own houses, so they are not Simpson College property, but they're connected to the Simpson College Wi-Fi networks and internet and everything else, so they have that. And so I keep that in mind as an option too. In terms of fraternity and sorority life, most of our students who are involved in it end up being campus leaders in one way or another. A lot of our student leadership on Student Government Association are in a fraternity and sorority. Again, I'd love to say it's for every single student, but I also respect that it's not for every single student. One of the things I think that a lot of people also have a question or concern about is what they hear in the news about a fraternity and sorority, about fraternities and sororities. Our fraternities and sororities are different from what you see in the news. If you look at the news, the bulk of the negative things that are put out there are at larger institutions where they don't have staff that are dedicated and directed into working with those organizations and ensuring that they live up to a standard of the community. All of our organizations are on campus at the invitation of the college, and if they were doing something that was inappropriate or not living up to the values of our community, then they would no longer be on our campus. I think that might be the last slide that we have. I'm open, if you want to click to see if you have any questions, happy to answer any questions about student activities, intramurals, Greek life, anything, if anybody has. And we are a pretty open book and happy to share anything in our experiences.
All right, and then Laura and I are here to answer any questions you have about the admissions process too, should you have any.
Okay, we have a question about, are there any water features on campus?
The only weird water feature that I would say is probably in the library, underneath the stairs as you're going up to the second floor. There's been talk over the years about maybe trying to put a fountain or something else someplace else on campus, but unfortunately not. But that's probably our weirdest water feature, our only water feature at that matter.
Yeah, I would say we used to have a swimming pool, but we currently have a partnership with the YMCA, which is just north of town, and that allows for our students to have also a discounted membership and use of their pool facilities. That's where our swim team also practices and utilizes. So in terms of water features, that would be one that is connected with the college, but not on campus.
Yeah, in terms of the Greek recruitment question about details that goes for the sororities, recruitment information about recruitment and what the expectations are and all those things of that will be coming out here probably after June 1st is when we typically start to put that information out. So like sign up and all the information. When it comes down in terms of cost for joining a sorority or fraternity, those costs we typically don't put out until the fall when we know that people are signing up. But we're also, it's not a secret. We're happy to share that information with anybody who has questions about it. But as far as the details go about recruitment and what selection is like and all that sort of good stuff, we'll be sending that information out here probably in a little after the 1st of June, somewhere around there. And by all means, I'm happy to have you all talk with any students. If you have specific questions, we have our Greek community leadership councils that are happy to talk with anybody about what it means. I know that during our summer orientation, we typically try and have some students there so you can answer questions there as well. So But I would, hopefully that answers your question. I know it's a little bit vague, but hopefully that answers your question.
All right, are there any other questions from anyone? Oh, here we go.
As far as major religious activities, I guess what I would encourage you to do is sign on to come to the Religious Life presentation. Is that, I can't remember the date that you said that was, Mark.
It's the first week in May.
Yeah, we have an exceptional chaplain, Mara Bailey, who's fantastic. And I know that they do a ton of activities and they have a ton of sub-organizations underneath them that do a lot of different programming, whether it's campus worship or some programs like Food for the Soul or those sorts of things they're great programs that I would encourage you to take advantage of. But I would definitely encourage you to get on that visit day, that virtual visit day, and talk with Mara, because I know that, and some of her students, because I know that she can definitely give you a lot of details about the religious life experience on campus. So, but they're very actively involved. I know that the Student Government Association works with them. I know that the Campus Activities Board has partnered with them on a variety of things. So as a community, we all work together to do as much as we can to provide a great experience for our students.
All right, well, we are starting to approach the, we're 1 minute over of our 11:30 ending time. So we'll go ahead and we'll end it there. If you guys have any questions, please reach out to your admissions counselor and we will funnel those questions out and get the answers back to you right away. If there's nothing else, thank you for joining us. Thank you, Rich and Nicole, for your presentation. And we look forward to seeing you guys in the fall. Have a good day.